Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be reviewing Fork 696 Working Carpenter Reviews. We'll be reviewing a book called Who Cares Anyway? Punk Rock in San Francisco and the End of the Analog Era, which it basically catalogs the punk rock scene in the 1990s in San Francisco. It's one of my favorite music scenes to date. And I will also be reviewing Halloween 3, The Return of the Witch, The Season of the Witch. Okay. Which was far than okay. Also, I received in the mail something pretty astonishing. Andrei Mlesko, my friend from Wrocław, I always mispronounce it, in Poland, sent me this satirist, Andrei Mlesko, born 1949. He's still alive, and he's illustrated for a bunch of foreign and also Polish magazines, and he has this pen tendency that I love in the Polish satirists and Polish illustrators, and he mostly does really pornographic also zines. Like I also got this one, which is sort of, you can't really tell because I'd have to show you the whole thing, but anyways, I'm not getting angry with you. Okay, so rock scene in San Francisco talks about the rise and fall of the last, basically, analog era genre of music, or at least one of the last of them within the United States in San Francisco. Talks about Subterranean Records, Amarillo Records, many different bands such as The Sleepers, Dieselhead, Hello Kitty on Ice, etc. It's a very interesting book because it not only do you I discovered some of my favorite bands through it. It has a series of interviews, lost tapes, a lot of information on things that you probably couldn't unearth through the internet anymore, because the guy that wrote it, Will York, did a lot of unearthing that was in the San Francisco physical territory. He was present there, that's what I mean. A lot about the record labels back then, most of them independent based, how they worked, and also about the futility of the fact that everyone really knew that this very abrupt, transitional phase between analog and digital would be coming, which had many positives, especially in cinema, but it also, I think, had a lot of negatives. Some of the negatives that I also forgot to mention were that at the time, you could do 4-track or 8-track. Most people wanted 16-track records, but it was so expensive. Later became much cheaper with the coming of the digital era. But back then, doing a 16-track record was so rare. And considering that many records, from bands back then, were vanity pressings, it meant a lot of money involved, which is something. Also, there's a lot of anger that's been built up for past genres and bands, such as the Grateful Dead or the Doors, expressed also in many of Popo Pie's covers from back then, like the Sugar Magnolia one, which I think is crossovers. I didn't know that Amarillo worked with Anton LaVey, the leader of the Satanic Church in San Francisco, that has since then got destroyed. What is it called? Very cohesive amount of information, and the way that it's also presented, because that's something, and it also has very rare photographs, or at least photographs I couldn't find online. So go buy it. 4.5 out of 5 solid. very interesting plot. It wasn't a horror, but I would say it's more psychological. And again, super futuristic, but at the same time archaic, sort of Brazil inspired. But at the same time, Brazil wasn't probably inspired by Halloween 3. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Halloween 3 was 1982, Brazil was 1985. So there might be some overlapping there with Sir Terry Gilliam. You never know. Uh, yeah, pace was okay. Could have been faster. John Carpenter on the synth, as always. So I think John Carpenter's music is the most scary thing about this film, which tells you a lot. But if it wasn't a Halloween within the Halloween branding, I would have loved the film independently as well. But because it's in the Halloween branding, it wasn't what you expect. Solid 2 out of 5, but absolute cult classic. I loved it, and everyone can fuck off.